The true HZRDUS PX is absolute dog shit.
Here's my new stick tier list, guys. As you can see, HZRDUS PX, avoid. If you want this document, shoot me an email. I can send it to you.
Guys, I don't mean to be rude, but you know how I roll. I always give the most honest review of a stick that I can. And when it comes to the true HZRDUS PX, without being just completely angry for the $430 purchase that I got with this stick just does not bring it in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to break it down for you guys. So welcome to Beer League Bum Hockey Reviews. This is the type of stuff that I do. Honest, 100% unbiased, and unfortunately true, you brought a knife to a gunfight. So first, guys, let me just start off by saying that I was super excited for this stick when I first mentioned it all the way back in February in my gear upcoming video of what I was going to purchase this year. And the true HZRDUS PX was one of my most exciting sticks for a number of reasons. Of course, it was the apparent 345 gram weight, and then just the explosiveness, you know, of what they were trying to say this stick was going to do. And I'm not a low kick stick guy, but I do like the Trigger 6, and I really thought this was going to be something else. So first, I was very excited for this, and when I first picked it up, the first couple shots, a little wristers, I was like, okay, not terrible, not terrible. But as time went on, this thing just kept losing me, and I eventually just put it down. And I really thought that this stick was going to be explosive shot release and power that we've never seen before, because True was going to sacrifice everything to bring the weight down and durability. And it turned out that wasn't the case whatsoever. So I was going to turn this into a normal review, you know, 12 minutes long game footage where I talked about it and eventually put it down. But honestly, guys, I started using this stick and I didn't even take it out after my few games to go do individual ice sessions because I just hated it that much. So let's get into it, exactly why.
Here's a couple goals, game footage, guys. Nothing crazy. Again, I really wasn't feeling this stick all that great, so didn't have a ton of highlights for you guys. This goal kind of highlighted that like quicker release on the little wrist shot, and this one kind of the stick handling, really light stick, pretty easy to get around, guys, and get that shot off. And then for the final goal, again, just kind of quick release on that little dragging wrister there. But again, this stick just really wasn't doing it for me.
That's still pretty harsh, Boomer. What about everything else? Grip. One of the first things I noticed about this stick is that it has absolutely no grip. It's a $430 stick. Where's the grip on it? It's so slippery, I had to put stick wax on it. My $430 stick, I had to put stick wax on. Completely unacceptable in today's game. Hockey stick grip has really taken a downturn, save for the Sherwood TMP Pro. That thing is excellent in terms of grip. But the HZRDUS, absolutely nothing to it any way, shape, or form. Okay, let's start here. Lightweight build, zero compromise, explosive release. Lightweight build, yes, it's one of the lightest sticks ever made at 357 grams, not 345. As you can see here, True's little marketing gimmicks are quite interesting, and this stuff is what bothers me. True doesn't even show here what the actual stick weighs when it's actually sitting on the scale. They just stop it here and show half of it. They don't even show if it's an intermediate stick, what the actual specs of the stick are, what the actual deal is. They're being too secretive about what this actually brings. So it's not 345 grams, it's about 357 grams. Very impressive, but come on, guys, let's actually stick with what it is. Explosive release. Not really. From a slap shot and snapshot perspective, it's one of the worst sticks I've ever used. I'll get into that in shot power. Wrist shots are very nice and they come off great, but this stick is actually a compromise because the only thing it does well is wrist shots. Dragging wrist shots, old school style. Snappers and slappers, it has absolutely nothing to it. So if you're comparing this to a Trigger 6 Pro, which is a direct competitor, the Trigger 6 does all of those well, and it's a low kick stick. So what exactly are you getting here in comparison is just an inflated price tag. So from a compromise perspective, you actually are compromising. You're compromising your shot power and your versatility for just a one-trick pony style of shot. Some companies promise greatness, True delivers it. Unfortunately, I think most people will agree, the stick offerings from True lately have been not great. The HZRDUS PX was one of the weirdest sticks I've ever used, and overall it had major durability issues. And not only on top of that, it was not a great mid-kick stick for shooting in general. It also had a very weird blade. Definitely not the top of the mid-stick game. The HZRDUS 9X had insane durability issues where I broke it instantly in my first testing session. This now is exactly what I've been talking about. This is not at the top of its game. Who tests this stick is what I want to know. Do you put this up against the Hyperlight, the other low kicks, the Trigger 6 Pro, the True Wrecker? Do you put those sticks up against this in the hands of your athletes, and do they give you feedback? Because if you did, and I have tested all of those sticks, I would tell you this is probably at the very bottom. And of course, the selling feature of this stick is going to be the 345 gram weight, and sitting actually at 357 grams, not 345. It does still feel great in the hands, and it's incredible balance and great for stick handling in that regard. But I don't like the marketing gimmick, and I don't like how they're not being transparent and they're not being objective with how they're doing it. Because at the end of the day, if this does not weigh 345 grams in a senior P28 curve, full-length stick, then why not show those specs? Just show it and be honest and show exactly what the stick actually weighs. So True didn't even do that. So to me, their marketing gimmick already set me off. We will get into all the specs now as we finish up this review because I hate this stick so much. I don't even want to have this go for 10 minutes. But the other thing, of course, with this stick is it's trying to be in a class of its own, have a price tag and allure to itself for $430 Canadian, and it just is not worth that price tag. For a no compromise type of stick, sure. If you were bringing slappers, snapshots, grip, weight, durability, explosive release, everything that they were saying this stick was, then $430 may be worth it for the type of player like me who wants the best of the best and wants to bring the best piece of equipment to the ice. But in terms of the True HZRDUS, it is not worth $430. I feel so bad for anybody spending their money on this just to use it. And if you have used other sticks, you will know right away this is bringing absolutely nothing. And the best way to tell that is if this improved your shot, your game, your release, it would be worth that. It actually downgraded mine. So you'll see in this video that I added the new stick tier list, and the HZRDUS PX doesn't even rank. And we're going to get into those rankings as we finish up the review of this video. And I'll tell you how it kind of fell in there and why. So the new stick tier list is there. I'll post it up there. Be sure to check that out. And this falls in my new category, which is going to be avoid. After everything I've given to you guys, I hope you guys avoid it, because the $430 price tag and everything else I talked about is definitely putting this in the avoid category. So let's get into the rankings, and that's where it's going to fall in my tier list. So let's start with shooting. Because of how versatile this stick is we're going to put the shooting at a 2 out of 5. And the reason is because the only thing it's good at is a really nice, just dragging wrist shot. That's it. That's all it can bring to the table. And every other stick on the market can do that that's in the high-end category. So 2 out of 5 for shooting. It cannot take slap shots. It actually has some of the worst recoil I've ever seen out of a low kick stick. The Trigger 6 Pro is one of the best shooting sticks for overall, because usually from a low kick stick, you're not going to get that crazy one-timer, the big slap shot. But the Trigger 6 somehow brings all of that. Has the good release, has the nice low kick, easy load, and it still recoils like a son of a bitch. So I don't know why the True wasn't able to do that as soon as you put your hands in the center and do a big slap shot. 2 out of 5. Release is an interesting one. If you were talking about just dragging wrist shots, it'd probably be a 4 out of 5. But because it only can do well on that release and the other two versions of shooting, where you're on your off leg and not on your off leg and taking slap shots and one-timers, and it doesn't have any recoil from the bottom of the stick, it just doesn't seem to work. So from a release perspective, I'm going a 3 out of 5. Now, of course, we got feel, weight, and balance. So the only thing that this stick is going to bring is, of course, its weight and feel. And from a stick handling perspective, the blade feels okay. The shaft is nice and stiff, and you can, of course, stick handle and feel great with it. And you get really smooth hands because of the 357 gram weight. So it's still a decent stick for that, so you can't really fault it. It's the other things that it's doing horribly. So feel, weight, and balance, of course, is going to be a 5 out of 5. Guys, this video is already longer than I wanted it to be. The True HZRDUS PX is one of the worst releases I've seen in quite some time from a stick manufacturing company. The Hyperlight is better. All the Sherwoods are better. All the CCMs are better. Christ, the Sling is better than this. And at the end of the day, in my stick tier list, this is an avoid at all costs, especially if you don't want to regret spending $430. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Beer League Bum Hockey Reviews. True, I'm sorry, but you got to do better.